Hey everyone, welcome to our second live stream this October. We're really excited to have you here, and we have a packed program ready for you with some really great speakers. So it's going to be a really interesting episode. Let me just head to the overview first so you know what we're going to be talking about. So today we have a bunch of product updates from one of our product managers, David Arens, ready for you. We'll be talking about a couple of AI updates, but also some really interesting UI projects that I'm sure you're going to love and that you can already try out because this is hot off the press. This is now available. Then I'm talking to Jenna Pedersen from Pinecone. She's going to be talking about RAG. She'll give us a quick overview of what this means, so we're all on the same page, and then do a few live builds using their vector store for us. And then finally, I'm talking to Marrallisa Kreijkes, who is our new ambassador in Amsterdam, and she's been doing some really interesting things with the community that we want to share with you guys, and maybe we can roll them out to other places as well. And then finally, we have a mystery guest, but you'll see him when we get there at the end of the show. So that's going to be super nice to see. So I think without further ado, I would like to introduce David to you. There you go, David.
Hey Bart, how's it going?
How are you doing, man? It's been a while.
It has. I appreciate you having me back on.
I think your first appearance in the live stream was when you were with us for just a couple of weeks, right? Or
yeah, exactly. And I remember this vividly because I think I was speaking about an upcoming update that now I get to kind of talk about the other side of, what have we done. So that's kind of
excellent.
Exciting.
Super nice. All right. So I know you have a lot of things to share, so let's not wait too long and just dive straight in. And we'll keep an eye on questions from our viewers to answer them at the same time.
Yeah, let's do that. And I guess I really appreciate the time here because I get to be the face to talk about stuff that the team has been building. And the first thing I want to mention is a quick update on verified nodes, because that was actually the thing that I think back in March we talked about. We were on the brink of launching this, and since then, since May when we did the public launch, we've had quite a lot of interest, and I think we have some slides here for this, right?
We do. Yeah, let me just head over. There you go. Sorry.
Okay, there we go. Cool. Yeah, I wanted to give a quick update. I know there's a lot of interest in this program, where we have the ability, you have the ability as a node author to submit a community node for verification by n8n, and then it becomes available for discovery and installation right inside of the nodes panel in n8n and on n8n Cloud. And so in total, I checked the numbers. We've had 545 nodes submitted in total since May. We've approved 179, and we have 70 in active review with the team right now. And really here, the bottleneck has been us and our ability to do manual reviews of these nodes. We want to give them our stamp of approval, right? Initially, we were doing about 20 per week, and now we've got this up to about 90 per week. And so I know there's a lot of authors in the community who have submitted a node where the process has taken longer than they would have liked and we would have liked. So just wanted to share a bit of an update on this. And our ambition right now is to get nodes live within 30 days. And ultimately, we want to cut this down to 1 week.
Wow. And David, to give us an idea, what are you looking for when you're approving a community node?
Yeah, we have a few hard criteria. One of them is to follow kind of the technical constraints that we have to impose here, which is more or less that the package can't use any external dependencies, just so that we can kind of keep this under control. But for most integration type, no, not really an issue. And then we do look at some like hygiene things. Is there a credential test so that the UX matches what we want to see in a node? And overall, is it following our UX guidelines? Is there any malicious behavior going on?
Right. So security, usability, performance, I imagine. Yeah.
Exactly. Those would be the big.
Okay. Bring that down to a 1 week wait time sounds like a pretty big effort on your side.
It is. It is.
Right.
Yeah.
Next slide.
Yeah, next slide. Oh yeah, and on that topic, just to wrap that up, we've not just been sitting on our hands and waiting for all of the submissions. We've also tried heavily to kind of make the developer experience of building a node better, so that as a node developer, you have all the tools locally available to make sure that your node is going to most likely pass at least our automatic checks that we run. So here we've invested in tooling. We have a n8n node CLI tool that kind of scaffolds the node, helps you build it, and runs local checks. And then also we've moved the review process into the n8n creator portal that a lot of you may know from the templates, right? Where you can submit templates. And now you can also go there to submit your notes for review by us.
Perfect. So I put a QR code for the node tool up here, but you can also just search for node tools, node CLI tool in our docs, and then you will find it as well, right? So, all right.
Exactly. All right. Yeah, the next kind of seemingly small, but like a huge quality of life improvement for me has been the command bar, which I think a lot of people might be familiar with this pattern where you can just hit Command K in an app, and then it brings up a drawer where you can search for, in this case, you can search for nodes, activate a work, add a node, and do all kinds of stuff. And I think I have a video here that gives a quick overview, no?
You do, but I now realize that Restream doesn't play video, so I'm going to share my screen for just a second so I can play that for you guys.
Appreciate it.
Just checking, David, do you see my screen now?
Do.
All right.
And now I do
good.
See the
Here
video loading. All right, yeah, this is Command K, and then I just search for Gemini, edit the Gemini node. Now I'm searching for Anthropic, adding the Anthropic node. I'm now adding a sticky node. What else am I doing? Saving the workflow and a bunch of other stuff. So you can kind of see a list of all of the commands here. This works while you're on Canvas. This works also while you're browsing the projects. So really handy. This launched in 1.117. So should now be in stable. And yeah, I'd encourage everybody to try it to speed up your flowgramming.
Brilliant. And yeah, for keyboard warriors like me, this is fantastic. Whenever I can do something with the keyboard, that is the best way to do your work quick, right?
Exactly. Never touch the mouse.
Exactly. Let me get rid of my screen again.
You may actually, I think I brought a bunch of demo videos, so you might have to do this tango a few more times.
Well, that is fine. I can do that. Right. Next one.
Perfect. All right. Yeah, the next update that is already partially live is we now support the new responses API in the OpenAI node. That one has gotten a bit of an overhaul. So for those that aren't familiar with kind of the technicalities here, the responses API is kind of a new API paradigm that OpenAI launched a while ago. It's an agentic API, so you can kind of have stateful conversations throughout this API by passing around conversation ID. This is kind of cool. It supports built-in tools for web search, for file search in the vector store, and for code execution. Like I said, it supports the conversation endpoint, and of course, we added the generate video action, so you can use with Sora 2. Kind of natively through the node. And again, I think I brought a video here. So if you can, did I? Yeah, I did.
Let's do it. Here we go.
All right. So this is just showing kind of the actions we have here. Now I'm creating a conversation and grabbing the conversation ID just for the demo purposes here. And what you'll see is I'm going to pass this here as an option in the OpenAI node. I'm going to give this a web search tool as well. And then if I chat with this node, I'm going to say, hey, I'm David, just to show the kind of statefulness of this. If I now ask, what's my name? And that's my quick way of testing if it can persist state. that I'm David, and then the video generation capabilities here.
Nice. I know a lot of people have asked for that as well.
Yes. Yeah. We've had quite a few requests for this. And what I was showing here is the OpenAI node that's already out. That model will also support the responses API, and that's coming in the next version, so on Monday, I believe.
Right. Excellent. I'll just keep screen sharing for the moment, so I can do all your videos.
I think that makes sense. Now we're kind of staying on OpenAI, at least partially, but moving into kind of stuff that's coming soon. And this is a Guardrails node. So yeah, if you want to show the demo here, this is a node that will let you check inputs to your LLMs and outputs of the LLM against policies like NSFW, topical alignment, jailbreak attempts, and custom policies that you want to set up. You can use it to also remove sensitive information like PII, secret keys. It is for those steps that use an LLM in the background, like topical alignment checks or NSFW checks. You can choose any model, of course, as you like. And then you can also inspect and tweak all of the prompts that are running in the background here for those LLM-based checks. So yeah, in the demo video, I think what I'm showing here is kind of a topical alignment example where I'm trying to purchase a yacht, but the use case is for an auto repair shop, so it can't help me with that. And then it sanitizes by removing the email address that I'm passing.
So it's not just a check; it actually can update your data before passing it on to the next agents in the chain.
Exactly. So it can do both of these things. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay.
Exactly. And for those of you that followed the agent builder launch from OpenAI, they actually open sourced their guardrails, and this implementation is taking inspiration from that open source repository.
Yep. And so this is coming soon. Is that like still going to happen this year? Do you have any impression of that? Or?
Yeah, for sure.
I know you guys never want to talk about it, but I'm going to try anyway, right?
No, I actually have to check myself. It should land next week, but I'm going to say in 2 weeks.
With the usual disclaimers, of course, right?
Exactly.
It means it's close, at least. That's great.
It's very close. Yeah, final test.
Right.
And polishing.
Okay. All right. Shall we go to the next one?
Yeah, let's look at the next thing. Okay, yeah, again, like a forum here, because this was a long-standing upvoted request, and really getting around to supporting OAuth in MCP. So yeah, this is also coming very soon, also in polishing, and then this will let you use OAuth to authenticate with remote MCP servers from Notion, Linear, and others who require this, and where you couldn't kind of connect to their official MCPs as of now, or if you need to enforce this in your environment.
And remind me, David, do we have other authentication protocols in MCP clients as well, or is this the first one that we're adding?
No. We've had Bera auth since the start.
Right.
So yeah, this is
perfect.
kind of
this is like widening the number of tools. Yeah.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay.
And staying with
this is what it looks like. Yeah. It's OAuth.
Exactly. This is what. And then staying with MCP, we're also close to launching a standalone MCP client node. And this, MCP as a protocol, right, is supposed to be used by agents. And what we're doing here is we are also enabling you to MCP as part of your deterministic workflows, which will be curious to see how people use it, how the adoption is. we're hoping that it just, again, increases the surface area for you can leverage MCP inside of n8n. And you see an example here. Of course, we have our own MCP server trigger, right? So you can build workflows as MCP servers inside of n8n, but also connect to remote and Notion and so on. And the tricky bit here was a bit that, the protocol is kind of meant to be used and by agents. How do you wrap that into UI? We've done our best. I think we did a pretty good job, but I'm going to be curious to see how people use this.
It's an interesting new angle to use this outside of an agentic context, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What else did
and the last two things,
bring?
coming soon. You know what I'm going to ask now, right?
Yes. I mean, so I'm putting a coming soon here. This means I'm very confident in that it's really near. All of these things are in final testing and polishing and so on.
Fantastic.
So this one as well is very close. However, the last thing that I wanted to talk about is a bit further out, which is Human-in-the-Loop. And kind of to set the scene for Human-in-the-Loop, the status quo, if you want to go to the next slide, the status quo of Human-in-the-Loop in n8n is we have these send and wait operations for a bunch of services like Slack, like Gmail, Microsoft Teams, and so on, where you send a message and then you can wait for a response. And that response can be approve or deny. It can be also editing in place. And you can now, I don't know if we shared this widely yet, but the AI agent node now supports waiting in tools. So you can even use these send and wait actions as a tool for an agent. So you can kind of prompt the agent to say, if you're doing X, first ask for approval via Slack, for example. However, the catch with LLMs is they are probabilistic. So you can prompt all you want. There's no kind of surefire way that every time the agent wants to execute the supercritical tool, it's actually going to ask for approval. And this is what we're looking to enable in this quarter. So if you want to go to the next slide, I brought kind of a early mock-up of what we're doing here, which is human tool calls, where the idea that you can actually put these supercritical tool calls behind a gatekeeper, a human-in-the-loop node. Because ultimately, here at n8n, we believe in a combination of AI, code, and human building blocks to automate business-critical processes. And so what we're doing here is, kind of sticking a human-in-the-loop node in between the agent and the tool call, so that it's to pass kind of through a bouncer at the door. And you'll be able to do approve, reject, or kind of edit and approve by inspecting the parameters that the agent wants to pass to the tool call for potentially destructive or high stakes tool calls. And here, I think the flexibility of n8n allows you to do something where you might have a chat context where the human in the chat chatting to the AI, and then there's a tool call that actually has to be approved by another human. So that's why I put here humans as approvers. I don't know, there might be you're chatting with the internal help desk agent and you want to, issue payout for travel reimbursements. Then that can go to finance for approval before the conversation continues.
Nice. And now you're guaranteed that these approval steps will actually be executed, whereas before you were just hoping that they would be.
You were crossing your fingers. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the one thing that going to drop this quarter, but that we already have in mind is allowing sub workflows as approval steps, so that you can even do something crazy like the agent wants to execute the issue payout tool. If the amount is below $10, just pass it on. If it's above $10 in review. So we're really trying to enable kind of complex range of use cases here.
Brilliant. All right. And this one is a bit further out still, right? So we're still doing a lot of testing.
Yeah. And this is, I mean, this quarter, but yeah, I don't feel confident at all to put a release date to this.
Okay. But it's great to know that what's coming up later.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have more for us, David? Oh, this is what it looks like.
I'm gonna have to disappoint you. I think this was all that I brought for today. Yeah, exactly. This is a screenshot of kind of what it looks like in the UI.
Perfect. All right. So we do have 1 or 2 minutes for some questions. So I'm going to ask if there is anything that we should be sharing here. In the meantime, I'm going to catch up with the presentation. No questions, guys. I'm just talking to my team now, but it seems, David, that you've done a fantastic job explaining this, and we're excited to see how much cool stuff is around the corner. Yeah. And so to everyone, don't forget to update to 1.117 to try out the new command bar feature. You can try using that right now today, right?
Yeah, try it right now.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, man. Well, David, let's make sure it's not going to be that long again until we see you next time. But thanks for your input on the show, and I will see you soon.
Yeah, see you. Thanks, Bob.
Okay, thank you. Bye. All right. Then our next guest is, as I mentioned, Jenna Pedersen from Pinecone. And let me just welcome her here. Oop, there we go. Hey,
Hello.
Jenna. Good morning.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Nice.
Thanks for having me on today.
Yes, it's a pleasure, and we realized, we're talking about a lot about AI and vector stores, etc. And Pinecone is definitely part of that landscape as well.
Yeah.
And as we were talking to your team, we discovered that there were some really interesting use cases, and we'd love to show our users how to use them as well. So, yeah, maybe you could give a quick intro and take us on. Yeah.
Sure. I'm a staff developer advocate at Pinecone, and you pronounced my name right, Jenna Pedersen. Thank you very much. We are in the business of bringing knowledge to your AI and making it more knowledgeable. We do this through what we're going to talk about today, which is retrieval augmented generation. Other use cases are going to include stuff like personalized recommendations, search, helping your agents have the right data to actually make decisions and take actions on. So, but we're going to talk about RAG today.
All right. In the meantime, I saw a tiny Pac-Man in the background, which is really interesting.
Sorry to distract you.
That's fine. Okay. Do you want me to share your screen?
Yeah, let me do that. Okay. Tell me if you are seeing.
Yep.
Okay. Excellent.
Go. Right. Let's do it.
All right. We talked about this earlier. I don't want to give a straight up presentation. So I would love for us to just kind of have a conversation about this, and we can talk about some of the, you can just interrupt and ask me questions. But I think maybe a good place to start is really where we've been and kind of where we're going with regards to retrieval augmented generation. Does that sound okay?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So pre-2022, pre-ChatGPT, a lot of our chatbots, they often relied on decision trees, logic, keyword matching. So if a user says X, I go find this information from this FAQ and I respond with this potentially hard-coded response. This gradually, as ChatGPT came out and some of these models became more prevalent, we started introducing the concept of an LLM into these chatbots. And there's some stuff in between here that some other iterations in between here too that I'm kind of skipping over, but for the purpose of this conversation, we can just jump right into connecting your chatbot to an LLM. And here, the model is backing your question and answering system, whether that's a chat widget on your website or that's internal in maybe your company internal wiki, allowing people to kind of chat with their internal information. However, there are challenges with doing this. There are issues that can happen. And this is just one example of what we call a hallucination. So in this case, we're asking about, this person is asking me which planet has the most moons. And it turns out that the wrong answer was provided because Saturn has more moons have been discovered on Saturn since this model had been trained. So we know that there's a bunch of limitations. The one that I just showed is static knowledge cutoff. So each model's trained up until a certain point, and we're only able to get essentially general purpose knowledge out of the model based on up until that date. So if you're asking about something that's happened since then, like last night's basketball score, you're not gonna have any luck with that. Other challenges here, limitations here. I think the one that is super interesting for this group and for today is this lack of specialized domain knowledge and proprietary knowledge. So all of your private company data is not accessible in these public general purpose models. And so if you're trying to get insights on what's happening with your company or what's happening with your customers and their data, or your customers are trying to get information or insights, it doesn't have access to that. So that's kind of the big one that I think we should talk through today a little bit. Any questions so far?
Yeah. No, I think this is like exactly right. What you're saying, what you're showing is also the thing that a lot of our users run into when they first connect a chat to an LLM. We do a lot of workshops, and we make them do this on purpose. We make them connect to the LLM and make them ask, like, what is today's date? And it will give you the cutoff date, obviously, right? And then suddenly they're like, oh yeah, right. There's like a limit to what it knows.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And if you were to ask something about something that's part of your company's private data, it's also not going to know about that.
Right. Yeah. Which is a good thing.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. So that's where retrieval augmented generation comes in. So we have this concept of the model, the large language model, that has information that's frozen in time, like I just mentioned. But this technique, retrieval augmented generation, or also known as RAG, it uses authoritative data from our private sources, external sources to the model to improve the accuracy, relevancy, and usefulness of the output. So what's actually happening, and I'm going to show in the next two slides, I'm going to show I had to split the image into two slides because it's very tall. So bear with me. It's made up of 4 different steps. RAG is made up of 4 different steps. We ingest our data, which involves some of these things that you see at the top here, chunking and embedding. We have to retrieve data, which also includes embedding the query, doing a search. Typically, this is through a vector database, but technically it could be some other data source. We might do a re-ranking step. And then the third and fourth step are taking that retrieved data, that authoritative data that we just got from our vector database, and we augment our query with it. We take the query, we take the retrieved data, and we use that as the prompt into the LLM for generation. And that's actually what turns what many people see as these broken up pieces of data, which would be your chunks, into actual natural language output that one of your users can either get insights from, or they can send it off as an email, that type of thing.
Right. Yeah. And so I think it's also good to point out, a lot of people make the assumption that RAG means like you're retraining your model to include your proprietary data, but that's not what happens, right? So you're just enriching your prompts.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what that's not what's happening. But what is happening is we're taking that data, we're putting it in with our prompt, and we're sending that prompt to the model, and the model is using that as context for the next output.
Right.
So sometimes you'll see that context build up over time if you have a long conversation chain, and you might use potentially memory to kind of maintain that conversation over time, or even to manipulate that the memory of the conversation. So you're compressing the amount of context that you send each time.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So I mentioned the first two steps here. Really, what this is doing is it's bringing that authoritative data into your process, so that you can actually get insights from your data. I kind of glossed over some things here. A couple things that like we see a lot of questions on are this chunking step. And not just from n8n users, but like our core user base has a lot of questions about this. And so we do have some content out there that talks about this, but would it be useful to kind of just give a very brief overview on like what to think about here as you're thinking about chunking?
Yes and no. I am looking at the clock a little bit. We have 10 minutes left.
Okay.
So I also want to make sure we have time for the live building.
We can move on. I can answer that in questions too.
All right, perfect.
If it comes up.
Yeah.
Okay. Talked about that. Now let's talk about like where Pinecone fits in. So it's not, RAG is not one size fits all. Like I mentioned earlier, you might not use a vector database, but in this case, so much of our data, our data that is private is unstructured data. It's high dimensional, unstructured data that's in like text documents, images, video, audio. And that's where this concept of vector search really shines. So instead of scanning raw text for a keyword or querying a relational database or an API, we actually can find meaning and similarity in this high dimensional data. And we do that through this fast and accurate vector search. So a vector search, very, very simply, it just happens over vector embeddings, which are numerical representations of the meaning behind a piece of data. And I'm simplifying it a lot, but we do a mathematical calculation to calculate the distance between vectors to find which ones are close or which ones are further away. So you can kind of see in these two examples here, the one on top, they're further away because they mean different things in that context of the full sentence. And then the one below, they're closer together because even though they're using different words, they mean similar things.
Gotcha. Oh.
Okay. So let's let's do that. Let's talk about a demo. I'm going to show the kind of what this looks like in practice in an n8n template. This is it's sort of a work in progress, so you won't see it out on the directory yet, but there are plenty of examples out there that do almost exactly this. I'm not gonna run it. I will just kind of show you how we configure it here and where some of the challenges are. But we have this Pinecone vector store node. We select an index here. We actually have to, one of the things we have to do here is set up our embedding model. We choose one. We have to select the number of dimensions that we want to use. More dimensions is going to have more information, more features that are embedded in that vector. Lower dimensions, it's less information. But that also comes with a cost. So there's a balancing act that we have to play there.
So figuring out that value might take a bit of trial and error, I suppose.
Yeah. And we do have kind of some defaults that we propose, but it is definitely gonna depend on kind of the data that you have and the types of queries that people are running as well. The data loader, I just have this set up very simply. I'm using simple text splitting, but there are options to make this more custom. And this is where some of the challenges is you have to decide how you want to chunk your data. And then we pass along, most important here is this external file ID so that we can manage these vectors later on.
You
but
mean
if
when you're
they get
upserting your data later?
Exactly. So this metadata gets upserted so that we have the external file ID that information came from. If we need to update or delete that data later on, we use this file ID. And then comes down, we've got this vector store tool here. And we have a description of what this is doing, the index that we're using again. And I don't know why I have this metadata filter on, but anyhow, we can, this would just be filtering by that metadata. But anyhow, we also include re-ranking here as well. So you see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things that we have to configure just for the ingestion and retrieval steps. And what
Can you quickly describe what the re-ranking does here?
Yeah. So when you get data out of when you actually retrieve data from Pinecone, you get a list of results back, and they are scored based off of that specific embedding model. And so what we do is we use a re-ranker to re-rank them based on the meaning of the query and the meaning of the actual results that have been returned. And it just comes back. It can potentially come back in a more accurate ranking.
Okay.
And you don't always need that, but sometimes you do. And so again, it just is another step. So where Pinecone can fit in here again is we actually have a product called Assistant, and it is doing all of that stuff for you, which makes it so that you don't really have to think about it. So this is a product that runs on our servers. I'll show you real quick here how you can create that, but it's handling all the processing of the files. It's handling query planning, retrieval, deciding which, how to chunk your data, how to store your data, how to retrieve your data.
So this is taking all that trial and error I mentioned before out of your process.
Yeah. I mean, it's not taking all of it out. There's definitely testing you're going to need to do to make sure that you have you've selected the right knobs that you can turn, but there are less knobs to turn in this situation. Okay. Let's look at so this is a new template that we just built out. You can I'll share a link to it here in a second. It is out on the n8n template directory. But what this is, this top section is doing is
Can you zoom in a little bit, Jenna?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, perfect.
There we go. So this top section here is ingesting data from our Google Drive. I've already done this, but it's uploading it to Assistant. These are HTTP nodes that are uploading the data to Assistant. We are looking at introducing a new node that is for Assistant. That would be kind of the parallel to Pinecone Vector Store node, so that you don't have to do so much of this configuration here either. But this assumes we have an assistant created. I already have one that I've created. It's really, once you've signed up for an account, all you do is click the Create Assistant button and you give it a name. I'm not going to do that because I have one with data already loaded. I will show you that here. This is just, think of this as a playground where you can chat with the data that's already uploaded. This is, and you can view the files here. This is all, like I mentioned, this has all been uploaded. It's been processed, chunked. It's in under the covers. It's in an index. But what we're going to do is we're going to set up our workflow real quick to have a chat trigger, and we'll connect it to the AI agent node. We're just going to give a pretty simple system message. The data that I have uploaded right now is 10K financial data for a company. And so that's what we're gonna ask questions about. Chat model, I'm sure many of you are familiar with this already. I'm just gonna select OpenAI and the default there. The tool that I'm gonna add, so every assistant has its own MCP server to expose what we call the context API. It's context that you retrieve back from the assistant. And so we are going to use that. And I'll grab that. I'll grab that here. This is our context or our MCP URL. I will drop that in here. We need to use the streamable. We're using bearer auth today. And I'm just going to let it use, there's only one tool, so we can just leave it as all tools. And then I think we are ready, and we'll see what happens here. The question I'm going to ask, let me just see if I have anything saved. Yeah, so I'm going to ask information about financial information about the Compaq Computer Corporation for 1995. And we can see that it goes out and as it's running, it's chatting with the model, calling out to our MCP server on assistant. We get back as output, we get these chunks back. Essentially, they're chunks. They're called context snippets is what we have named them. And the data is embedded in here. And that ends up, the way this is configured, that ends up getting sent to the OpenAI chat model and transformed into actual output, natural language output. So that's where we get this here. That's kind of it for the assistant. Again, you don't have to think about your chunking. You don't have to think about the embedding model. You don't have to think about which search approach I need to use. And we do all that for you. So here is a link, QR code to that template if you would like to try it out. We're kind of early in this with hooking n8n up to assistant. I would love feedback. Feel free to share that with me on LinkedIn or in the chat. Happy to get information on that.
Is this also if people enter this link, do they also find your contact information there? Or
no,
okay. LinkedIn
you can find me on LinkedIn at Jenna Pedersen. That's the easiest.
Yep. That's great. All right, Jenna. Well, thanks for giving us that overview. Also curious if people want to try out Pinecone, like how does that work? Do you have like a trial they can use or?
Yeah, so we have a fairly generous starter tier, and you can just go to app.pinecone.io. We'll put you right into the sign up flow. I just found out this morning that for assistant, so our free tier for assistant only supports 10 files right now, which is not very generous. And we know that, and we are in the works, like right now as we speak, trying to change that. So that's to come. It's not available yet, but please try it out because it's going to be available.
At least people can see if it's
exactly.
That's brilliant. Okay, so let's see if there's any questions from the audience here. I'm sure there's a couple. Melinda, is there anything? Yep, there we go. So this person doesn't have a name, but they're asking, does Pinecone offer some graph rag solution as an alternative to vector storage?
We do not. We do not. We do. I know in the Pinecone community, there are people that are kind of doing some complementary solutions related to graph rag and vector search. So there might be something there that would be interesting, but we don't have that solution out of the box.
Okay, understood. Yeah. Then Blessing Agandu asks, how does Pinecone differ from traditional databases when it comes to handling unstructured data, and what use cases really highlight that advantage?
Yeah, that is a big question. So with unstructured data, and if you want to get it into a relational database, you have to you actually have to do a lot of processing to structure that data and get it in, right? So what a vector database like Pinecone does is it is using those vector embeddings to understand the meaning and the context of that chunk of data. And by doing that, it can use these distance metrics to find data that is like it or similar to it.
Right.
And like the most common use case is just a traditional search where you are potentially looking for something that isn't maybe the right name. One example I give is an e-commerce search example where you want red blouses, but maybe you just typed in red shirt, or vice versa. And so it understands that you mean something different than just the words that you want. But there is also support for keyword search using a different type of index. So oftentimes we want to use both of those together in tandem, a semantic search and a keyword search, and we call that hybrid because we want to make sure we capture both, keywords, like especially those that are private to our company, or stock tickers, or acronyms, stuff like that.
Right. So if I can like repeat that in my own words, like traditional unstructured databases, you need to put in a lot of effort to structure them, and with vector stores, the meaning is actually the structure.
Kind of. You do. I definitely don't want to say you don't have to process your data to get it into a vector database. There's definitely some work to do to clean that up. But if you think of like, let's just think of like a Word document, or a web page. That's a common example. You've got a title, you've got different sections, and that might be a logical way of breaking those up. It might also be better to break it up based off of paragraph. And that's where like some of that chunking strategy and decision making comes in, is like, how are people looking at this data? How big are the ideas and information that they're trying to get out of this data? Does it span multiple paragraphs, or like a chapter of a book, or a section, or is it just each paragraph is its own thing?
Understood. Yeah. So no magic bullet yet. You still have to think for yourself.
You do still have to think. Humans are still
That's good. That's good. I like that. Yeah. We have one more question, Jenna, on privacy. So I'm not going to pronounce this name. The question is, how does Pinecone ensure privacy for a company that wants its information private? Can you self-host it?
So we do not have self-hosting. We do have something called bring your own cloud. So if you wanted to run this in your own cloud environment, you could do that. It is essentially a product on its own. So we don't have self-hosting. So I can't offer that. The benefit here of not having self-hosting, obviously, is you don't have to manage servers. You don't have to manage updates, and figure out how to run VMs and Kubernetes and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yep. I did already notice when you were setting up your assistants, you could choose which region you would be hosting it in. So I think for a lot of people, that's also a good choice
so
to
there
have.
Are two regions. Today, there are two regions for Assistant, US and Europe, I believe.
All right. So, well, that's an important one for a lot of us.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks again, Jenna. Before we say goodbye, could you repeat again where people can start a trial and try this out?
Yes. If you want to get set up with Pinecone, you can go to app.pinecone.io and create an account there. It's also linked through this QR code that you're seeing out. The template that we have out there using Assistant has instructions for getting your Pinecone account set up and using this template.
All right. Well, thanks so much for your time.
Yes.
And I hope to see you again in a future live stream.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome, Jenna. See you.
Yep.
Bye-bye. All right, guys. Looking at the clock, it is time to move on. And our next guest is... I'm forgetting one step. Sorry about that. I also wanted to mention, if you want to learn more about RAG strategies for like optimizing your data access, we recently had a live stream on exactly this topic. So if you want to see it, head over to our YouTube channel and click the live tab, and then you can watch that video. Next up, I have Marrallisa, and let's see, she is around. Hey, Marrallisa.
Hello, thank you for having me over. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great.
Yeah, yes.
Thanks.
Marrallisa is also in the Netherlands, so we're not that far apart, actually.
Yeah,
today,
that's
but,
true.
yeah.
Well, already our accent, I think, makes it clear, but yeah.
I'm not ashamed of it. So thanks for joining us today. The reason I invited you is that you recently joined us as an ambassador, and you've been quite active doing like a different kind of community activity that I was really interested in talking about a little bit. But before we do that, let's get to know you a little bit and understand like what brought you to n8n and what you use it for.
Well, yeah. I'm a business owner. I've been doing business for over 10 years, and I found myself learning a lot of different skills. So I started first as a marketeer, and then I started doing website development, and then someone who has a website with you also wants some backend. So step by step, you learn all these different skills. And I remember thinking in the past, what am I going to do with all these different skills? Like, it's not helping me. Like, I can take on multiple projects, but in the end, I'm just a generalist. So when I first started hearing about automation, and I started playing around with it, I played with Make and with Zapier, and not to like bash them, but it felt very clunky, and I didn't feel like starting it at all. But then later I got confronted with n8n, and it was love at first sight. It worked exactly the same as how my brain functions. And I found myself just being in bed late at night, watching videos, trying to keep up and learn everything so I can adjust my skill set. And what I found is that all these skills that are hanging separately, I can orchestrate them and I can funnel them down into a solution which has such extremely much value to any client. So I was, I took my chance and I made some calls and I closed some good clients. And this is my n8n journey. And then
Nice, yeah.
the
And
position
for how long have you been using n8n now?
over a year now.
Over a year. All right.
So,
Excellent. And already doing
yeah.
amazing projects. And the thing that you just mentioned, that it just like the tool just clicks. I hear that from a lot of like more technical people, like
Yeah.
something in our design and like our whole approach just works better for people like us, I suppose. Yeah. So that's there's a tool for everyone, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you joined us as an ambassador this summer, I believe. Right?
Yeah.
Quite recent, but you've already done a couple of events with us, right? Or for us, I should say.
Yeah.
Let me go to the next slide and zoom in a little bit so people have an idea. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what did you do, Marrallisa? What was the plan?
Well, it started with that I noticed something. Every time when I went to an event of n8n, I saw everyone in the breaks talking with each other and being enthusiastic and sharing knowledge. And then after some presentations, you could hear, "Hey guys, the break is over. Let's get back to the presentations." And even though everyone was so interested in learning more about n8n, they were like, "Oh, I wish we could talk longer. Maybe talk next break." And then the next break, you meet so much fun people again. So I saw that the community of n8n is so positive and so fun and interesting to talk with. And I wanted to create a space for that. So the first time I just went to the lobby of a hotel and I just put something online like, "Hey guys, I'm going to co-work here. I'm your ambassador in Amsterdam. So if you want to get to know me or other people, feel free to join." And that came, it became quite a nice thing to do. I got so much positive responses, people telling me exactly what I already felt, that it felt like a family to hang around with people who are nerdy just like you, who are also willing to learn. And yeah, it gives me a lot of energy to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. These two pictures, the one on the left is recently in Amsterdam, and then the one on the right was after the Builders Berlin event 4 weeks ago. It was kind of like a spontaneous thing, right? And we there was a bit of an issue with finding a good place, but we ended up in a hotel lobby, and it was fun. It was so different from a meetup because everyone was just doing their thing,
Yeah.
and everyone had their laptop with them, so they could show each other what they built.
Yeah.
And I saw a couple of like really cool workflows there.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like back in the days when you did LAN parties and you would meet up with your friends in your IT
Yeah.
studies and you would play games together or do a project together. And because so many people who are who like to work with n8n, they're solopreneurs or they work on their own.
Mhm.
So this is a very good way to be productive at the same time, but also be social. And being social is a big challenge if you're an entrepreneur, especially in tech. So yeah.
Yeah. All right, so you've done this 3 times now, and like, can you give us an idea of like what's next?
Well, I've been making some plans because I do have a love for traveling. And I get like my mailbox is full of people asking me, oh, could you please come to Japan? Can you please come to Bali? Like in Bali, you have very big communities around tech and around AI. In Georgia, even Vietnam, like there's so many places that could benefit from that. So I'm trying to make up a plan to travel the world and do these co-working events internationally. So that would be
Brilliant.
great.
So maybe people can meet you soon as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And from our side too, like, as the n8n community team, like we try and come up with cool ideas, but if we see people doing great stuff like this and it's successful, then it's something that we can try and do on a larger scale as well. So this is something that we're keen on trying out with our other ambassadors. So it's at some point it won't just be Marrallisa traveling around like crazy, but we have ambassadors around the world, right? So we could have many more of these co-working events. So if that's something that you like, make sure to let us know so that we know there's an appetite for it as well. At the same time, I'm going to the next slide here. I know there's also a more like traditional, if I might call it, activity coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Amsterdam, December 3, we're meeting in the Start Dock again. Do you already have an idea of what the program is going to be like?
Not really. I'm really trying to find some good options because I really want to make sure that everything we learn there is applicable to the audience as well. So it also depends on the registrations. When I see the registrations and I get an idea of who's coming, we can also adjust the calendar or the timetable to that. And I want to try and keep it simple and not go into the details of something very technical that may not be relevant for anyone. But yeah, I'll make sure to share that in detail soon.
All right, perfect. Yeah, and also if there's anyone here in the Netherlands that would like to contribute to these events, please reach out to us and we can connect you to Marrallisa, or just you can find her on LinkedIn, I suppose. Right, we're always looking for contributors to these kind of things. Brilliant. All right, Marrallisa. Well, thanks for taking the time to be here with us today, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks in Amsterdam, I suppose.
Yeah, let's do it.
Great. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So just to wrap this up, other activities by our community over the last month, we had lots of meetups, we had workshops coming up, we have events in Copenhagen, Vienna, Berlin, LA, San Francisco, Düsseldorf, and the first event in Belgium as well. So if you are looking to join one of these, head over to n8n.io/community/events. But that's not all, because as you know, we're also doing starter sessions, and we had Amal record a short message for us. So here we go.
Hi, my name is Amal. I'm an n8n ambassador, and I'm taking n8n into these workshops in a new city every single week. If you're wondering what is n8n, this workshop is for you. We are doing it across Europe and across North America. You can find it on Luma. Guess what? It's entirely made for beginner focus. So you are wondering what is n8n, how to do AI automation, how to build an AI agent. This content is mainly built for you. It's a 4-hour non-stop workshop. You get a break in between, but you get to know how to build 3 different workflows. You will basically walk out of that room by getting exactly every single bit of information that you need in order to actually become an n8n so-called flowgrammer. if I'm coming to your city, I'm looking forward to seeing you in person. See ya.
I don't know where Amal gets his energy, but he is traveling a lot. And for the next couple of months, we'll have more workshops in Vienna, Los Angeles, Lisbon, Miami, Madrid, Austin, Istanbul. And then we're switching gears a little bit. So all the workshops so far were our starter sessions for beginners, so absolute beginners to n8n. But we're now starting to experiment with like an intermediate level course as well. And for that, we're revisiting 2 cities that we already attended for the beginner session. So we're going to Barcelona and Amsterdam, and we'll be expanding this further in the rest of the next year, including advanced classes and like other topics as well. So if you want to join this, head over to n8n.io/community/events, and you'll find a little tab at the top where you can filter the starter sessions and see where the next one is. So we hope to meet you there. And then finally, I have a special guest here. I can see he's ready for it already. It is Dr. Pure Eval.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Bart. I've prepared something special eval today, and shall I start with a special message?
Yes.
All right. Hi, I'm Dr. Pure Evil. You might know me as Mac's sidekick from the Agentic Arena, but today I bring my own show. Yes, you have heard that correctly. No, it's not the next Agentic Arena, but it will be the most evil thing that I did so far. So let me introduce you to the Agent Roast Show, which will be happening in Berlin, the 26th of November. And here's my evil master plan. I will rent a comedy club. I told Bart it will be a community meetup. I let
you're making me pay the bill, right?
n8n pays the bill. Thanks, n8n. I will let 100 humans in join as person, as audience. I will also let a couple of them bring their own agents, and then we will roast those agents live on stage, like breaking them on stage, like running prompt injections, and maybe, just maybe, we will show with the new guardrails node how you can prevent such injections. So it's edutainment, if you want, a big message, or let's say the vision of Mac's Agentic Arena was to do edutainment, and I want to try something myself, like not a sidekick, because I also bring Max to the show. I rented him as well.
With the
and I make
skills,
him,
right?
and yeah, of course, he will be coming in a nice suit, and yeah, I will make him he will be my sidekick. So it will be a fun evening. You can envision something like a comedy show around AI agents, and I'm super stoked. So if you have a submission, I will open the submission soon. There you can upload n8n templates. Those can be submissions out in the wild. If you join us in person, you can also bring your own agent, which means your agent will have the chance to take the stage. You can present it, and we will roast it. But no blame to the creators. We want to make this in education way, fun, and showing prompt injections live and having a fun evening. So thank you so much, n8n, for bankrolling this. It will be a lot of fun.
All right. So if people want to share their agent and get it roasted by you, what do they do?
They will, for submitting an agent, I haven't prepared the form yet, so you will have to wait for that. But yeah, the thing is, you will submit an agent that you want to see roasted. Ideally, if it should be one of yours, if you want to be on stage as well, because I will give you the stage to present us your agent use case, and then we will break it with prompt injections in a fun way. For sure. And you don't need to be afraid. Really, we don't want to blame the creators. We really want to show you how we can make our agents even better. So this is the whole idea. And I know it will be happening in Berlin, and I know that a lot of people want to join us. If you can make it, feel free to join us. The Luma page is just live. And for those that cannot join us, of course, we will record the thing and we will publish it as well as show on n8n's YouTube channel. So
Fantastic.
stay tuned.
All right. So for now, people head over to our Luma page on n8n.io/community/events, register for the event, and soon we'll get information there on how you can submit your agent to participate.
Exactly.
Yep. Fantastic. Well, thank you, Ivan. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Awesome. Thanks, Bud. Thanks for having me. And there's only one thing left to say. Stay evil.
We will. Thanks, man. See you soon.
See you soon.
All right, folks. That is almost it. Final message from me. If you are interested in doing things like Marrallisa or Dr. Pure Eval here, if you want to become an ambassador, head over to n8n.io/ambassadors. Read the information, fill out the application form, and you might be here on the show next as well. I think that wraps it up. As usual, we have an after party for you. So if you head over to the QR code here, we're going to start a Google Meet in a couple of minutes where we hang out with you guys. We can have a chat. We can talk about what you thought of the show. You can share what you are working on with us. So we're looking forward to meeting you there. I hope you enjoy this, and we'll catch you soon.